In the quiet countryside of Pennsylvania, nestled on a steep hill, sits a home surrounded by acres of isolation. Woods enclose the property on three sides, with a vast field stretching into the distance, and a small mountain looming beyond it. The house, barely visible from the road, stands at the end of a winding driveway. The peace and silence here are deceptive, for something unnatural has stirred within these hills. It began one evening as the sun set behind the mountain. Returning home from work, she stepped out of her car and was immediately halted by a series of strange sounds, loud banging as if rocks or bricks were being hurled at the back of the garage. The noise, relentless and violent, echoed through the property. As suddenly as the sounds had started, they stopped. She called out into the dark, but only silence greeted her. Returning with her father to investigate, she found nothing, no rocks, no disturbance. The only sound was her racing heart. But as she stood alone once again, a familiar melody drifted through the air, the Pearl Jam song she had just been playing in her car, but there was no source. Just as quickly as it started, the music faded, leaving only an unnerving silence. A woman sits on a porch at night, cigarette and coffee in hand, when suddenly she leaps up, startled by the sound of a stampede. The sound is deafening, as if dozens of animals are charging toward her. Yet the scene remains empty, nothing is there. She stumbles, spilling her coffee and cigarettes, looking around wildly. The porch is dimly lit by a single outdoor light, casting a faint glow over the scene. The stampede sound abruptly stops, leaving her standing in stunned silence. The night once again unnaturally quiet. The night sky above a dark field, with the silhouette of towering trees framing the scene. A strange, translucent triangle-shaped craft hovers above, shimmering as though submerged in water. It moves slowly through the branches of the trees, distorting everything around it. The craft is massive, but nearly invisible, giving the scene an otherworldly, eerie feeling. The woman stands below, looking up in stunned disbelief as the craft silently glides overhead, its presence unnerving and unnatural. A vast, open field at night, illuminated by a strange grid of red laser lights hovering just above the grass. The lights are bright, precise, and orderly, casting an eerie crimson glow over the entire field. The grid extends far into the distance, with no visible source in the sky or ground. The surrounding countryside is shrouded in darkness, with the red lights cutting sharply through the night. The woman watches from the side of the road, her expression a mix of confusion and awe as she tries to make sense of the bizarre sight. A snowy twilight evening, with a fox standing near the edge of a dark, dense forest. Suddenly, a beam of bright white light encircles the fox, lifting it onto its hind legs. Inside the white beam, a smaller, purplish light pulses as the fox sways unnaturally, as though trapped in the beam's grip. The scene is surreal, with the beam of light cutting through the night and casting eerie shadows across the snow. The fox begins to rise into the air, and in an instant, it vanishes into thin air, leaving the woman standing in shock, helplessly watching from a distance. A dark and foreboding Pennsylvania countryside at night. The trees stand tall, their branches bare, and reaching like claws toward the sky. The house sits in the background, shrouded in shadows, with faint lights flickering from the windows. The scene is completely still, with an oppressive, unsettling quiet hanging in the air. There is a feeling of something watching from the woods, something unseen and unknowable, lurking just beyond the edges of perception. The air is thick with tension, and the night feels alive with unanswered questions.